Often romanticized in modern books and movies, the vampire is a cryptid that has been documented for millennia. Cultures like the Mesopotamians, Hebrews, ancient Greeks, Manipuri, and Romans wrote tales of demons or spirits that were the precursors to the modern-day vampire we know. Legends of the vampire we are familiar with today began around southeastern Europe in the 18th century. In most cases, vampires are revenants of evil beings, victims of suicide, and even witches. But they can also be created by a malevolent spirit, possessing a corpse, or even being bitten by a vampire and getting the vampire's blood in return. The belief in this creature was so pervasive in areas that it caused mass hysteria. Even public executions, much like the witch trials of Salem. In Slavic and Chinese traditions, any corpse that was jumped over by a dog or cat was feared to become undead. A dead body with a wound was at risk of becoming a vampire if it was not treated with boiling water. Russian folklore reads that vampires were witches, or people that rebelled against the Russian Orthodox Church while they were alive. To prevent a loved one from becoming a vampire, people would bury the corpse upside down, or sometimes place earthly objects like scythes and sickles near the graves to satisfy demons before they can possess a body. Placing branches of an aspen tree on a grave is said to prevent vampires from rising. And in present-day Romania, people insert pins or thorns into the hearts of their loved ones before they are buried, so they will not come back as a vampire. Vampires are described to have an almost fully human appearance, only slightly taller, with longer limbs, more slender features, and very pale skin. The most distinguishing feature of vampires to humans are the enlarged canine teeth. These fangs give the cryptid the ability to rip and tear flesh, then feed on the blood of their victims. The Latin term for vampires is Homo sapien homovorus, which means human-eating wise man. Vampires are thought to have abnormal strength and stamina, are extremely resistant to disease, and are said to be able to control and shapeshift into a bat or rat. In extreme cases, vampires can even transform into a mist. And because they are supposedly undead, vampires are believed to be immortal. What internally sets vampires apart is their nervous system. They are reportedly able to use both hemispheres of their brains, making them extremely intelligent, and their reflexes are so fast that they can grab a speck of dust from your eye before you can blink. Some cultures believe that vampires do not have a soul, and as such do not have a reflection, or even cast a shadow. Vampires are the closest to what we call cannibals, as they eat the flesh of humans just as much as they drink the blood. It is said that they require a certain protein to survive that only blood or flesh can provide, and that vampires choose to take blood to keep their victims alive for future feedings. Many protective items have been used to ward off vampires. Garlic is a common example. The branch of a wild rose or hawthorn can cause harm to vampires. And in Europe, mustard seeds are sprinkled on the roof of houses to keep them away. Sacred items such as crucifix, rosary, and holy water are also used. It is said that vampires are unable to walk on consecrated ground or cross running water. Mirrors have been used to ward off vampires when placed facing outwards on a door. Some traditions also believe that a vampire cannot enter a home unless invited by the owner. And even though vampires are more active at night, they are not generally considered vulnerable to sunlight. 17th century reports in Russia and Poland claimed that when a vampire's grave was recognized, Eating bread baked with its blood or even drinking the blood granted protection from that vampire. Other stories suggest that eating the dirt from the vampire's grave would have the same effect. The means of destroying vampires varies depending on the culture and the period. Staking of the heart, stomach, or mouth with wood is the most common method. Cultures use everything from ash to hawthorn, oak, and aspen, which is believed to be the wood used in the crucifixion. The practice of the vampire burial can also be done, where they would bury a vampire with sharp objects that would penetrate the skin and deflate them should they rise again. A vampire's head, body, or clothes could also be spiked or pinned to the earth to prevent them from rising again. The preferred method is decapitation, with the head buried between the feet or away from the body. Many people drove steel or iron needles into the vampire's heart and placed bits of steel in the mouth, over the eyes, ears, and between the fingers at the time of burial. They would place hawthorn in the cryptid's sock or drive a hawthorn stake through their legs. Further measures include pouring boiling water over the grave or complete incineration of the body. Southeastern Europeans believed they could kill a vampire by being shot, drowned, repeating the funeral service from when they were human, sprinkling holy water on the cryptid, or by exorcism. Romanians would put garlic in the mouth of the vampire, or in the 19th century would shoot a bullet through the vampire's coffin. In the most resistant cases, the body was dismembered, the parts burned, mixed with water, and ingested by the members of the vampire's living family. And in Saxon regions of Germany, lemons were placed in the mouths of suspected vampires. We here at Spirits with Spirits are into making lemonade out of these lemons as we review this cryptid. Whether it is real or myth, this is one creature we can really sink our teeth into.